Imagine this. You are standing at the edge of a quiet Japanese garden. The gravel is perfectly raked, the moss is lush and green, and every stone is placed with intention. It is a picture of harmony, but you are not there to admire it. You are there because you have been handed a sledgehammer. A voice, calm and certain, whispers in your ear. To find your freedom, you must be willing to shatter this perfect scene. This is the unsettling invitation at the heart of the courage to be disliked. This book is not a gentle guide to self-improvement. It is a philosophical detonation, a dialogue between a troubled youth and a stern philosopher that challenges the very bedrock of your life's narrative. It presents you with a central paradox so profound, so counterintuitive, that your first instinct will be to reject it. The ultimate prison is not the pain you have endured, but the story you have built to make sense of that pain. And the key to your freedom lies not in understanding that story, but in daring to throw it away. You felt this, haven't you? That nagging sense that your past is a ghost that haunts your present. A childhood criticism that still makes you flinch. A past failure that whispers, "You are not enough," every time you face a new challenge. We are taught that to move forward, we must first dig backward. We must excavate our traumas, analyze our complexes, and find the root cause in some distant memory. We believe, with every fiber of our being, that who we are today is an inescapable product of who we were yesterday. But what if this entire framework, the very idea of cause and effect applied to the human psyche, is the trap itself? The philosopher in this book makes a radical, almost heretical claim. Trauma does not exist. Let that statement land. Feel the resistance it creates within you, the anger, the disbelief. He is not saying your pain is not real. He is saying that we are not doomed vessels of our past experiences, but active architects of our present purpose. We are not determined by what has happened to us, but by the meaning we assign to what has happened. This is the locked door in your mind. It is the door behind which you keep all the reasons you cannot be happy, cannot be successful, cannot be loved. I am like this because my parents were critical, you tell yourself. I am afraid of relationships because I was hurt before. These stories feel like truths. They feel like self-knowledge. But the philosopher argues they are simply convenient fables, crafted to protect you from the terrifying responsibility of freedom. Because if you are not the victim of your past, then you are utterly, terrifyingly responsible for your future. So, we are left with a haunting, almost dangerous question, one that this book will not let you escape. What if you are not a prisoner of your history, but its jailer? What if you chose your suffering, not in a masochistic sense, but because it provides a safe, predictable identity? The promise of this dialogue is the key to that lock. It does not offer easy answers. It offers a confrontation. It offers you the courage to be free. And as you will soon discover, that freedom has a price almost no one is willing to pay, the courage to be disliked. So if we are not the simple sum of our past causes and effects, what invisible force is truly holding us back? The philosopher reveals the hidden architecture of our self-made prison, and he gives it a name, drawn from the work of Alfred Adler, one of psychology's great giants, teleology. We are not living in a world of cause and effect, but a world of purpose. Our entire being is not pushed by the past, but pulled by a goal. And the most insidious, overarching goal we all secretly harbor is the desire to not change. Let that sink in. Your anxiety, your lack of confidence, your unfulfilling relationships, these are not diseases to be cured, but strategies you are actively employing. They serve a purpose. The philosopher presents a shocking example. A young man, terrified of leaving his room, dreams of becoming a novelist, but cannot face the world. Classical psychology would dig for a cause, a childhood trauma, a humiliating event. But Adlerian psychology asks a different, more brutal question. What is the purpose of this anxiety? The answer: it allows him to preserve his fragile, idealized self-image. If he never submits his work, he can never be rejected. If he never socializes, he can never be judged. His anxiety is not the cause of his isolation. It is the meticulously crafted tool that guarantees it. He is achieving his goal perfectly, to stay exactly where he is, safe from the terrifying possibility of failure. This is the hidden problem. We fabricate emotions to justify our stance in the world. You don't get angry and then shout. You decide to shout and thus summon the emotion of anger to justify your action. It is a performance, an instrument you play to control your narrative and the people in it. That feeling of inferiority you carry, it's not a relic of a childhood slight. It is a current, active choice because it provides a perfect excuse. I can't pursue my dreams because I feel inferior. The feeling becomes the alibi for inaction. You are not suffering from a condition. You are benefiting from it. This is the foundational lie Adler exposes, the one we tell ourselves every single day to avoid the one thing we truly fear, the judgment of others. This is where the hidden problem reveals its true venomous source, the lifeline. We are all entangled in a complex, invisible web of interpersonal relationships, and our every action is a carefully calculated move within it. We are terrified of being cut from this web, of being seen as incompetent, unlovable, or, the ultimate fear, disliked. So, we craft symptoms. We adopt lifestyles of failure and complaint. We curate our own suffering because it is a safer, more familiar hell than the daunting heaven of an uncertain, unjudged freedom. We would rather be miserable and accepted than happy and alone. The tension builds. If this diagnosis is true, then you are not a passenger in your life, but its pilot, deliberately steering yourself into storms to avoid the vast, open sky of possibility. The consequence of ignoring this is a life lived as a beautifully constructed lie, a perfect performance for an audience you can never please, in a play you never wanted to star in. But if you accept this terrifying responsibility, a single, destabilizing question remains. What kind of world have we built? What kind of reality do we inhabit? When this hidden purpose governs not just individuals, but all of us? If this diagnosis of our hidden purposes is resonating with you, if it's making you look at your own life differently, then you won't want to miss what comes next. Subscribe to the channel, because in the next section, we expose the devastating consequences of living this way. Let me know in the comments, can you identify a purpose behind one of your own struggles? When this hidden purpose, the desperate need to be recognized, to be validated, to avoid the sting of disapproval, becomes the unconscious engine of not just one life, but millions, it weaves the very fabric of our reality. The consequences are not merely personal failures. They are the silent architecture of our society. We have built a world that runs on what the philosopher calls a vertical axis of relationships, a relentless hierarchy of winners and losers, superiors and inferiors, where every interaction is a subtle battle for status. You feel this every day. The frantic curation of a perfect life on social media is not just vanity. It is a desperate plea for recognition in this vertical world. The office politics, the quiet resentment of a friend's success, the need to one-up a sibling, these are not personality flaws. They are the logical outcomes of a system where your sense of self-worth is contingent on being above someone else. You are trapped in what Adler calls an inferiority complex, and its more vicious twin, the superiority complex. You either feel less than others, or you must loudly proclaim your dominance over them. There is no peace, only a perpetual, exhausting oscillation between feeling not enough and having to prove you are better. This is the unseen consequence. A global culture of quiet desperation, a collective anxiety born from the unspoken agreement that we are all in constant, unacknowledged competition. This framework extends to our most intimate bonds. Consider praise. A parent tells a child, "I'm so proud of you." It sounds like love. But the philosopher reframes it as a tool of manipulation, a judgment from above that reinforces the vertical relationship. The child learns their value is conditional, dependent on pleasing the authority figure. This creates what the book identifies as the deepest, most debilitating consequence of all. The fear of failure becomes greater than the desire for growth. We choose tasks we know we can complete to receive our praise, our likes. We avoid the challenging, meaningful work because it carries the risk of disapproval. Our entire lives become a series of safe, pre-approved choices, a paint-by-numbers existence where we never dare to touch a color outside the lines. The stakes are nothing less than the foreclosure of your potential. You live a life of if only. If only I were smarter, more attractive, from a better family, then I could be happy. This if only is the prison's most effective lock. It allows you to dream of a future freedom while excusing your present inaction. It is a beautiful, heartbreaking fantasy that keeps you docile and stuck. The world shaped by this problem is a hall of mirrors, where every reflection is distorted by the unyielding need for external validation. You are not living your life. You are performing it for a jury you can never see in a trial that never ends. But if this is the world we have built, a cage of our own making, then the philosopher must offer a key. What is the radical, almost unthinkable act that shatters these mirrors and sets the stage for a different kind of existence? The key to the prison is not a complex technique, but a fundamental reorchestration of your entire worldview. The philosopher presents it with disarming simplicity. Separate your tasks. Every issue in your life, every tangled relationship, can be unraveled by asking one ruthless question. Whose task is this? Your task is the part of an interaction over which you have control, your actions, your beliefs, your choices. The other person's task is their reaction, their emotions, their judgments, everything over which you have no control. Your task ends where their feelings begin. This is the moment you cut the invisible threads of the vertical world. You must have the courage to let other people down. If you speak your truth with honesty and it causes disappointment, that disappointment is their task to manage, not yours to preemptively avoid. If you pursue a path that aligns with your own inner compass and it invites criticism, that criticism is their task to own, not yours to absorb. This is the practical application of the courage to be disliked. It is not about being obnoxious or seeking conflict. It is about ceasing to live your life as a hostage to the potential disapproval of others. You are not responsible for how others feel about your authentic self. But this act of separation is only the beginning. It clears the ground for the book's most profound prescription, a radical shift from a psychology of lack to a psychology of contribution. You are not an incomplete vessel needing to be filled with the validation of others. You are a whole, capable being whose fundamental drive is not for recognition, but for a sense of community feeling, a feeling that you belong, that you have something to contribute. This is the horizontal axis of relationships Adler proposes. You are not above or below anyone. You are walking beside them on a common ground. The focus shifts from what can I get from others to what can I contribute to this moment. This is where the philosopher introduces a powerful metaphor. Life is a series of dancing moments. You do not dance to reach a destination on the ballroom floor. You dance for the sake of the dance itself, fully immersed in the here and now. When you are truly dancing, you are not worried about the judgment of the spectators in the seats. You are not anxious about the final step. You are alive, present, and contributing to the energy of the room. This is how you must live. Not for some distant, perfect future where you will finally be good enough, but by fully engaging with the tasks and the people directly in front of you right now. Your life is not a preparation for something else. It is a series of dots, and you can only live them, one by one, to the fullest. But this raises a final, chilling question. If you truly embody this, if you live entirely on this horizontal plane of contribution, dancing without concern for the audience, what, then, becomes of your past? What becomes of the story of you? This radical shift to a life of contribution and separated tasks is the turning point. If this path to freedom is speaking to you, Subscribe so you don't miss the final, profound synthesis. Drop a like if this perspective empowers you, and comment below on what task you need to separate from today. The final, staggering revelation of this dialogue is that your past is not a chain, it is a story. And like any story, it can be rewritten. The philosopher delivers the ultimate truth. Your life is not a straight line connecting cause to effect. It is a totality where every moment is complete in itself. The past that haunts you is not a factual record. It is a narrative you curate in the present to serve a current purpose. You are not changing the unchangeable facts of what happened. You are changing the meaning you assign to them. And in doing so, you are changing your entire life. This is the paradigm shift. You do not heal your past to change your present. You change your present, and in that moment, your past is healed. The childhood criticism that once felt like a life sentence becomes, from this new vantage point, a simple data point, a neutral piece of your history that no longer dictates your present actions. You are the narrator, not the character, of your own story. When you adopt the horizontal plane of contribution, when you dance for the sake of the dance, the entire library of your past grievances loses its power. They become old books written in a language you no longer speak, their bindings crumbling to dust. The book's ultimate truth is that freedom is not a destination you arrive at after years of introspection. It is a choice you make in this very moment. It is the decision to stop using your history as an alibi. It is the courage to accept that you are 100% responsible for your life now, not for the traumas that were inflicted upon you, but for the interpretation you cling to. This is not a burden, but a liberation of unimaginable scale. It means the power you have been externalizing onto parents, ex-lovers, bosses, and society, the power to make you happy or miserable, has been within you all along. And so, the journey ends where it began, but the garden is forever transformed. You are no longer standing at its edge with a sledgehammer, poised for destruction. You are standing within it, realizing the perfect raked gravel was always an illusion, a pattern imposed by others. Your freedom is not in shattering it, but in recognizing that you are the garden itself, wild, untamed, and constantly growing. You are free to be disliked because you are no longer tending to a landscape meant for others' eyes. You are finally living for yourself. The world will not change. The audience will still murmur, but you are no longer on their stage. You are dancing somewhere under an open sky, and the music is your own. So, what's the turning point? When do we finally realize that being true to ourselves is more fulfilling than seeking external approval? For me, it's when we start to see that the people who truly matter will like us for who we are, not for who we're trying to be. It's when we start to value our own opinions and desires above those of others. And it's when we finally find the courage to take the leap and be ourselves, even if that means being disliked. In that moment, something shifts. We start to feel a sense of freedom and empowerment that we never thought possible. We're no longer held back by the fear of rejection or the need for external validation. We're free to pursue our passions and live life on our own terms. And that's an incredible feeling. So how does this play out in real life? When we embrace being disliked, we open ourselves up to deeper connections with others. We're no longer trying to fit in or be liked by everyone. We're free to connect with people who appreciate us for who we are. And those are the relationships that truly matter. In conclusion, embracing being disliked can lead to personal freedom and a more authentic life. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. If you're interested in exploring this idea further, I'd love to hear about your own experiences in the comments. And if you're looking for more content on self-acceptance, be sure to check out my video on embracing your true self. If this final synthesis has shifted something in you, imagine what other paradigm-shattering books we could explore together. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next journey. Let us know in the comments how this book has changed your perspective. And be sure to like this video if it offered you a key to your own freedom.